Hello mates, how you doing? In this episode of Perspicace Cafe, why nations fall in recession? Does the economy have a climate like summer or winter? What companies have a better chance of surviving a recession and what not? So today we're going to dive deep into economic climate. This is a topic worth discussing, I suppose. So companies live in climate, the economic climate. They depend on the outside world for survival, just like plants and animals, including humans too. They need a steady supply of capital, also known as money supply. They need buyers for whatever they are making, and they need suppliers for whatever they are making it from. And they need the government to do their job without bombarding them with regulations and without taxing them to death. When investors talk about economic climate, they don't mean sunny or cloudy, winter or summer, but instead they mean what the outside forces that companies must face difficulty with. It helps them determine whether the company will make money or lose money, whether the company will thrive or wither away. When 80% of the population owned farms and worked on farms, the economic climate had everything to do with the weather. If a drought devastates the crops or due to heavy rain the crops drown in water, farmers couldn't make money, and when farmers couldn't make money, the local stores wasn't doing any business, and neither were the supplies to the stores. But when the weather was favorable, the farms produced record harvest, which put cash in farmers' pocket. The farmers spent money on local stores. This put cash in stores' owners' pocket, as stores would restock the shelves, which ultimately put cash in stores' suppliers' pocket. No wonder the weather and not the stock market was the favorite topic at lunch counters and street corners. But today, less than 1% of the population is involved in farming, so it is clear that weather has lost much of its influence. Today in the world of business, people pay less attention to the weather report and more attention to the interest rates, consumer spendings, etc. and etc. So these are the man-made factors which affect the economic climate. In the economic climate, there are basic three conditions: hot, warm and cold. A hot climate makes the investors nervous and a cold climate depresses them. What they are always hoping for is a warm climate, also known as Goldilocks climate, when things are just fine. But a warm climate doesn't last long. Most of the times the economy is going from one extreme to another, from hot to cold or back again. Let's take the hot climate first. Business is booming. People are buying new cars, new houses, new couches, new TVs and new everything. Merchandise is flying out from the shelves, stores are hiring more clerks to handle the rush, and factories are working overtime to make more products. When the economy is in high heat phase, factories are making so much product that merchandise is piling up at every level, at the stores, at the warehouse, and of course, the factories themselves. Store owners are keeping more goods at hand so they won't caught short. Jobs are easy to find for anybody who is even halfway qualified. There is no better time for teenagers and recent college grads to enter the workforce in the middle of a hot climate. This sounds like the best situation, right? Everything sounds very fine and dandy. Businesses of all kinds are ringing up big profits, unemployment lines are getting shorter, people are feeling confident, prosperous and very secure in their jobs. That's why they're buying everything at sight. But in the world of finance, a hot climate is regarded as a bad thing. It upsets the professional investors. If you pay attention to the business news, you will see headlines like prosperous nation, prosperous economy, business is strong, and so on. The main worry of a hot economy and too much prosperity will lead to inflation, which means prices will go up. Demands for goods and services are high, which leads to shortage of raw material and possibly shortage of workers. Prices tends to go up whenever there is a shortage of anything. Car manufacturers are paying more for aluminium, steel and so forth, so they raise the prices of cars. When employees feel the pinch of higher prices, they demand higher wages. One price hike leads to another as businesses and workers take turns to match up the latest increase. Companies are suddenly paying more for electricity, raw material and workers. Workers take bigger paycheck home, but they lose the advantage as everything they buy is more expensive than it used to be. Pretty soon, inflation is out of control and prices are rising up 5%, 10% and in the worst case, 20% a year. With new stores being built and companies expanding all over the places, Corporations are borrowing huge money as loans to pay for their expansion. Meanwhile, a lot of consumers are borrowing money on their credit card to pay for all the spendings they have been doing, which results in more demand for loans at the banks. Seeing the crowd of people lining up for loans, the banks and other financial companies follow the footsteps of automakers and other businesses. They also increase their prices by charging higher interest rates on loans. A hot climate doesn't stay hot forever. Eventually, there is a break in the heat due to higher cost of money. With higher interest rates on home loans, car loans, credit card loans, and you name it, now few people can afford to buy things like houses, cars, and all of the other stuff that they were buying before. So they stay where they are and put off the buying new house, or they keep the old clunker and put off the buying new car. This put dampers in real estate and car business. Automakers are facing trouble to clear the inventory of the latest models. Then what happens? A car manufacturer start giving rebates and car prices fall a bit. Unemployment lines are getting longer as thousands of workers laid off. People without jobs cannot afford to spend just like they were spending before, so they cut back on their spendings. Instead of taking the annual trip to the Disney World, they stay at home and watch Disney Channel or TV. This put dampers in hotel business. Instead of buying clothes every month, they keep up with the old ones. Now this put dampers in clothing business. Stores are losing customers and unsold merchandise is piling up on the shelves. There are more layoffs, more new faces and unemployment lines, more empty stores, and more families cutting back on their spendings. The economy has gone from hot to cold in the matter of months. In fact, if things get any chiller, there is a danger that the entire country will fall into economic deep freezer, also known as recession. In a recession, a company goes from bad to terrible. Companies that sell soft drinks, fast-moving consumer goods, medicines and etc. have a chance of survival, as these products are things that either people cannot live without or can simply afford. But companies that sell big-ticket items like cars, houses, refrigerators and etc. face trouble going through a recession as people simply stop buying expensive items. Companies' cash reserves in banks also play a major role in telling which company will survive and which will go bankrupt. That's why the perfect situation for companies and investors is a Goldilocks climate. Not too hot, not too cold, just fine. I'm sure this video was really something for you, isn't it? So before going, let me ask you this simple question. What do you think right now in whichever country you are? Is it a hot climate or a cold climate? Or somewhere in the middle? Now, if you are interested in more of this educational and informative type videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss anything. At last, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you soon.